Bonjour tout le monde, Madame Mayo here. Today we're going to talk about the irregular IR verbs sortir, partir, dormir, and servir. These verbs are IR verbs, but they're different than the ones we learned before, like finir and choisir. They have different endings and different stems. So let's first start by talking about what they mean. And you may want to write this down if you didn't remember or if you've maybe forgotten. Sortir is the verb to go out. Sortir, to go out. Partir is the verb to leave, or if you think of to part, parting is such sweet sorrow. Do you know who wrote that line? Extra credit if you do. Dormir is the verb to sleep. Dormir, to sleep. And servir is a cognate, as you can see, is the verb to serve. Now let's talk about patterns. We've discussed patterns before. Even in irregular verbs in French, we can see and find patterns, and this helps us. So this pattern is what I like to call the SST pattern. So you can see that the je form and the tu form are exactly the same, and they both end in S. Those are their endings. In third person singular, il, elle, on, our ending is T. So that's why I call it SST. Now these three sound exactly the same. Je sors, tu sors, il sort, elle sort, and on sort. You can only see the difference in the spelling if you're looking at it. If we go to the plural subject pronouns here, we see our old friends, ONS, EZ, and ENT. So those are some of the patterns that I'm talking about. Some irregular verbs in French will end in SST in the singular side. Some will end in XXT. These are patterns that we see. And then, of course, our old friends here, ONS, EZ, and ENT. Now, since we have two stems here, I'm going to show you a little trick on how to know when the stem is going to change. So let's just get our marker here, because we're going to draw a line between the singular and the plural sides of each verb. Okay. You remember we have first person, second person, and third person in both the singular and the plural forms of our verbs. And we're just going to draw this line here. All right. So my pointer back. If I come up to the infinitive of the verb, I will find a letter right here in the middle. And for sortir, it's T. So this is going to be my hint on when to change my stem. My stem in the singular is simply SOR, SOR. And it's to that stem that I add my endings SST. In the plural, my stem is SORT. And then to SORT, I'm going to add my plural endings, ONS, EZ, ENT. But Madame Mayo, you say, how do I know to add that T? Well, I say to you, go back up to your infinitive, grab that T in the middle of that verb, and drag it down to the middle of your plural conjugations. We're going to do the same exact thing with partir. There's a T in the middle of partir. If I drag it down to the plural side, here it is, right in the middle of my plural conjugations. Look at dormir. Dormir has an M in the middle. I'm going to drag that down and stick it right in the middle of my plural conjugations. And then servir has a V in the middle. And I want to make sure that V shows up in my plural stems like that. So that's pretty easy, not too much, not too bad there. All right, guys, let's practice pronunciation. If you would please repeat after me. Répétez après moi, mes amis. Here we go. Je sors, tu sors, il sort, elle sort, on sort. Nous sortons, vous sortez, ils sortent, elles sortent. Very good. Je pars, tu pars, il part, elle part, on part. Nous partons, vous partez, ils partent, elles partent. All right, let's do dormir. Je dors, tu dors. Il dort, elle dort, on dort. They all sound the same, right? Here's where we get a little different. Nous dormons, vous dormez, ils dorment, elles dorment. And who can tell me, when do I hear the ENT at the end of a verb? Never! That's right. But what does that ENT let me do? Lets me hear that consonant that comes before it that I otherwise would not hear if it was at the end of the word. All right, last one. Stay with me, my friends. Répétez. Je sers, tu sers. Il sert, elle sert. On sert. Nous servons, vous servez. Ils servent, elles servent. Très bien, mes amis, très bien fait. And I will see you next time. Thanks so much for listening. And bonne soirée, mes amis.